All right, y'all, it's Pambella with Real Talk, the drug abuser, part 3. So, as I'm getting him out of the car, he's stumbling. He acting like he just drunk. Like, you ain't really had that much to drink. Like, why are you, like, acting like you so drunk? But anyway, excuse me. I get him inside. I get him to the room. He's stumbling. Then I get him in the room. He lay across the bed. I go back out. I go to the kitchen because I'm going to get some water. His mama come back out the room, but she ain't come out. She just peeking around the corner, talking about wait so and so. I said, they in the room time. Girl. I said, yes, ma'am. Like that. So she go back in the room. I get the water. I go back, I wake him up, I get him to drink the water. After he drank the water, he ended up laying back across the bed and he went to sleep, y'all. So mind you, tomorrow is going to be that Sunday that I have to get back on the bus and go back home. And I was kind of glad it was coming up. So as he was laying across the bed, I get the remote, I turn on the TV, I'm trying to find something to watch. Then I go back in the kitchen, I fix me a sandwich. I tried to wake him up to see if he wanted to eat. He said he wanted to eat. So I just left him laying across the bed, y'all. So I kind of like just spent the rest of my evening in the house, sitting in the room with him while he sleep. I was in and out, going to the bathroom. I went outside to get on the phone for a minute. Now I'm outside on the phone. I'm talking, I'm checking up on my kids. I'm trying to see what's going on in Florida and letting certain people know, like, I'm finna get back on this bus and I'm finna come back home. Okay, boom. So when I go back inside, I go to the room. He ain't in the room. This nut done got up. So I looked around the corner and I seen the bathroom light on. He was in the bathroom. And when I say he was in the bathroom for a long time, yo, he was in the bathroom for a long time, like 30, 40 minutes. I'm like knocking on the door. He ain't saying nothing. I knocked on the door again. He's like, yeah. I said, you all right? Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm all right. I said, okay, okay. I had to get you up in here. He's like, yeah, I appreciate it. So I go back in the room. I'm sitting down. I had to pop me some popcorn. So I'm sitting there, eating my popcorn or whatever. He come up out the bathroom. He come out the bathroom, y'all. He just standing in the door and I'm looking at him. I had a good look at him. I'm like, what's wrong with this nut? Girl, listen, y'all. His eyes were so big and he was looking all sweaty and just looking stupid. I say, oh Lord. I'm like to myself, like, I'm glad I'm finna go home. I'm glad I'm finna go home. So he come in the room. He was like, what you eating? I said, I'm eating popcorn. He's like, oh. I said, I tried to wake you up to see if you want something to eat. You act like you didn't want to get up off the side of the bed. To my, yeah, I hadn't had too many drinks. I like, okay, whatever. So with that being said, he was like, you hungry? I said, I'm good. I'm good. We had already stopped and got something to eat anyway, but I just want my popcorn now. I'll eat the food later. He like, okay, yeah. So he leave out the room. He go in the kitchen and he closed the door. I'm just sitting in there, about 10, 15 minutes. He ain't came back in there. So I go back out and I'm peeking around the living room. His mom ain't nowhere to be seen because she lived in that room. She had everything she needs. She had her refrigerator, her TV, her snacks. She ain't come out of that room for nothing. But anyway, I go look and the garage is up. I see the garage up and he outside sitting on the garage in a chair. So I go outside with him. I said, what you doing? I'm enjoying the air. He told me, yeah, I'm just sitting out here trying to relax. I said, okay. I said, you want me to sit out here with you? He's like, yeah, if you want to. So I get a chair. I sit down on the garage. We just sit in there. So as we talking, he go inside of a little refrigerator that they had on the garage and he pull out like a beer. I think it was a Budweiser or something. When he put the beer out, I looked at him. I said, you finna drink some more? He told me, don't worry about what I'm finna do. I said, oh, okay. Well, you go right ahead, sir. You grown. You do what you want to do. So he get the beer. He popped the top. He's sitting in the chair, and then he drinking the beer. And I'm sitting over there messing around on my phone. And next thing you know, y'all, I see him reaching in his pocket. I was like, well, what he got in his pocket? So he reaching in the pocket, and as he reaching in the pocket, I see him pull out like a little bag or something. I'm like, what he got going on over here in this chair? So I'm sitting there looking at him on the corner of my eye. And I seen some little white substance. I'm like, what is that? So he got the bag, and I'm sitting there just looking at him. And I seen him like go up to his nose, and he was like that. And I was like, what the hell? I know he ain't on no powder. So I'm like, okay. So I'm looking at him. He put the bag back in his pocket. I was like, oh, I gotta go inside. I'll be right back. So I done went back in the house. I went in the room. I got on the phone and I called my friend and I told him what I had saw and I told him what type of action he had made and they clarified like, okay, yeah, he on powder or something going on with him. I said, oh Lord. I said, I can't wait because I'm finna get on this bus tomorrow and I ain't coming back. So with that being said, I'm inside. I never went back outside. He came back in there tomorrow. Why you left my side? I said, oh, I want to come inside. It was hot. I said, I just want to use my phone and lay across the bed. He was like, all right, cool. So he was acting normal, y'all. But late on that evening, after we had ate and I had to went and took a shower and everything, that fool started acting up. He started turning up. Like he had the music going. He was always listening to Sir Charles. Now, Sir Charles, don't get me wrong. Now, I was introduced to Sir Charles when I had met him. I had never heard that type of music before. He was always listening to that old school Sir Charles, Sir Charles, Sir Charles. So he listening to the music and then he started grabbing me and dancing and doing all that stuff right there. And I'm like, I don't want to, I don't want to. But he was turned up, y'all. He had been sweating. He had been popping like 2 or 3 bills after he had been drinking the day before. And I'm like, what is going on? That day he drank. And I'm like, what is going on? So he steady turned up. And I didn't want to play with him like that. So he was like, oh, so you act like you too good. You don't want to dance. I said, I don't want to dance. I said, I came up here to just chill, to get to know you, to see what type of atmosphere you are, like where you from, your people and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I went in the living room with him. He had the music turned up. His mama came out there, and she came out there singing a little bit, and then she went back inside because she was looking at the fool like she crazy. She's like, She said, she started doing her finger like that. I said, okay. So I didn't know what was going on. She never really came out and told me what was going on with the boy. But anyway, so as the night passed by, everything was good. We ended up taking a shower. We ended up laying down, and then we ended the night. It was pretty cool. So I got up the next morning, but I'll let y'all know in part 4 about that. Y'all stay tuned. Why did I? The drug abuser, y'all.